Hey, Bill O'Reilly here. Welcome to the No Spin News for Tuesday, November 11th, 2025. Stand up for your country on this Veterans Day. And we've got a very interesting interview with a Marine Sergeant who lost his legs in Afghanistan. And I know you've heard these stories before, but it's a special story. And I'm proud to bring it to you. And we'll have that a little bit later on as we honor American vets on this federal holiday. So the government shutdown looks like it will end this week. And longest shutdown in history, 41 days, whatever it is. And I'll tell you all about the ins and outs of it. But the most important thing I can tell you this evening, and this is vitally important, is that this whole thing where millions of people suffered was contrived. This was a political hit job. And it has not been reported as such. But we don't play that game. We don't play the party game here. Very important for you to know. I'm going to tell you the exact truth about why this government shut down and what is at stake for both parties. All right, so that is coming. And let's begin with the talking points memo. Last night, 9 Eastern time, the Senate voted 60-40 to reopen the government. Now, 60 is the threshold of votes the Senate needs to advance a bill to the floor. You've got to have 60 votes because that overrides a filibuster. And President Trump wanted to blow up the filibuster. That would be a disaster, not only for the Republican Party, but for the country. Because if you had a lower threshold, majority, then you could change laws every 2 years. You wouldn't have any laws. They'd need to be changing and changing and changing and changing and changing. And that's not what the Founding Fathers wanted. They wanted stability. All right. So now the bill goes to the House, and it will be voted upon tomorrow afternoon. And it will pass. There are enough votes. In the vote last night, the only Republican who defected was Rand Paul. Now, I know Dr. Paul, and I don't want to say bad things about him, but this guy is not helping the country right now. And it's not anything to do with Republican or this or that. I respect the fact that he's an independent thinker, but he's an obstructionist now. He doesn't want to spend any money on anything, and he knows that's not the way this system is going to work. So he doesn't support his own party. And that causes all kinds of havoc. So they just reached the 60 vote threshold because 8 Democrats, to their credit, said, you know, we've had enough of this shutdown. And they were Fetterman, Angus King, Maine, Catherine Cortez Masto, Nevada, Jackie Rosen, Nevada, Dick Durbin, Illinois, Jean Shaheen, New Hampshire, Maggie Hassan, New Hampshire, and Tim Kaine, Virginia. I was surprised by Kaine. He's a kind of a radical leftist now. So they said, no, we're not going to have it. We'll join the Republicans, and that got passed. All right, so we all have what happened. 41 days to do that. Okay, they're the longest running government shutdown in history. Now, the whole thing, as I said, was contrived. And it goes back to last March when the Democrats did open the government because of Chuck Schumer. And we went over this last night. And if you are a concierge member, you can get a free transcript of every word I say. I'm not going to repeat the reporting tonight. But I'm going to tell you that the goal of the Democrats was to increase spending on Obamacare. That was the goal for this shutdown. And they said the Republicans would shut it down until you increase the spending. And the Republicans said no. Now, Schumer got hell in March from his own party and saw Ocasio-Cortez, the radical leftist congresswoman from New York, start to raise money to run against Schumer the next time around, which I think is 4 years. And Schumer got nervous. But Schumer is through. He's finished. All right, this is his last go around. Now, we looked at this very hard. and I'm going to just simplify it. There was a law signed by President Obama to help Americans who cannot afford health insurance get it. And that is called Obamacare. That is worthy. There are some people, for no fault of their own, who don't have any money, and they got to have health insurance. Now, in order to give them that, or make it very low health payments, other Americans have to buy into the government insurance. You have to have money to give away health insurance. There was a spending level on it for the federal government subsidies. There's a spending level. Once COVID hit, that spending level went whoop, way up because people weren't working, couldn't buy it. But after the COVID stopped, the Obamacare spending is supposed to go back down to the original point in 2010 when it was passed. Democrats said, no, we want to keep the higher spending that was mandated under COVID. The Republicans said, no, we have a $38 trillion debt. We can't spend any more. Now, the Democrats knew the Republicans were going to say that because it would be like a Republican saying to the Democrats, we're going to shut down the government unless you back abortion being illegal. The Democrat Party's never going to do that. It's the same thing. So Schumer knew the Republicans were going to say, we're not going to increase the spending. We'll talk about a new threshold in negotiations, but we're not giving you a permanent bump up in health care spending. We're not. And that is what shut it all down. Does everybody understand it? I hope so. I can't make it any simpler than that. Now, after the election of last week, where the Democrats did well, a segment of the Democratic senators said, okay, we won. We got our people elected. So we don't want to continue this because millions of people are being hurt. And that's to their credit, those 8 senators I mentioned. The other senators on the Democratic side don't care how many people get hurt, led by Uncle Bernie Sanders. Go.
Look, I think it was a terrible, terrible vote. At a time when we have a broken healthcare system, this is going to make our healthcare system even worse. And that vote last night paves the way for 15 million people to be thrown off Medicaid.
I'm not telling the truth. Nobody's thrown off Medicaid. The rules changed. If you are an adult who can work, you must look for work or volunteer in order to get Medicaid. Is that unreasonable? No, it's not. There are medical exceptions. There are mental health exceptions. There are every exception. But if you can work and you're getting free health care from your state through Medicaid, you got to look for work. Sanders never mentions that. He has lost all of my respect. He is a charlatan. He's a communist, hardcore radical. Dangerous. Now, why don't Americans understand what I'm just telling you? Because they don't get accurate information. We have millions of people who watch and listen to me. But there are 343 million people in this country. Okay? And most of them don't listen to me because they don't care or they can't, whatever. I don't know. But they don't know what's happening. All they hear is the media, 80% supporting the Democrats, never tell you the truth, okay? This is what they hear. Roll the tape.
Democrats, you sold out the entire shutdown not to get what you wanted, but for a promise to not get what you wanted later. Where in the art of war? Hold on. Where in the art of, okay, here it is. I got it. Sun Tzu said, never press your advantage. It's unseemly. Fighting's hard. How about a snack?
No surprise, the vast majority of Democrats do not want this. None of those 8 Senate Democrats are up for re-election next year, and 2 have announced they are retiring from the Senate. What a disappointing way to end your career. Reminds me of when Journey released their last single, We Stopped Believin'.
All right, so this is the drumbeat in America. The late nights, the Saturday Night Lives, the straight press on television, on and on and on, never explaining what the real subject is. So the people who don't know much, all right, they absorb this, and you hear them in the crowd. Yeah. What are you yaying for? If you come on and I interview you, I can guarantee 100% you won't know anything. Okay. Now, it worked for the Democrats. NBC News poll, a very simple poll, 1,000 registered voters. Who do you think is more to blame for the government shutdown? Democrats, 42%, Republicans, 52%. Okay? It worked. It worked. Because most people do not pay attention. They don't know what's happening. And they're besieged on television news by Donald Trump's latest statement about whatever it may be. That's all they hear. And that's the memo. Bill@BillO'Reilly.com, name and town. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them for you. If you are a concierge member, write me any concern, Bill@BillO'Reilly.com. You have your own email to me directly. But if you don't understand, I'll explain it again. But again, I think that's the best analysis you're ever going to get. We don't talk enough about those truly making a positive impact. So let's take a moment to discuss Delta Rescue, the world's largest no-kill care for life animal sanctuary. Home to more than 1,500 rescued animals. It is staffed by trained specialists who provide lifelong care, love, and safety. They do incredible work. But look, it's important to remember that Delta Rescue relies solely on contributions from us. I have donated, and so should you. Their founder, Leo Grillo, built a legacy of dedication and everlasting love for animals. So consider making it a part of your legacy too. Talk with an estate planner. Check out the estate planning tab at deltarescue.org. You can make a difference, even get potential tax benefits. So please visit deltarescue.org today to learn more. deltarescue.org. Today is Veterans Day. All right. Now, this is very close to me. So if you follow my career, you know we raised more than $30 million for the Independence Fund. They provided track chairs, high-tech wheelchairs for severely injured vets in Iraq and Afghanistan. 30 million. Independence Fund no longer in business. Okay? We got a track chair to every single vet who needed it with all that money coming in. Now, there are other service people who need help from Iraq and Afghanistan. These are contemporary wars. In Iraq, Americans lost 4,492 people. Okay? 32,292 wounded. That's a big number in Iraq. Afghanistan, 2,456 killed, 20,770 wounded. Altogether, more than 50,000 U.S. service people wounded in Iraq and Afghanistan. Now, there is a charity that's doing a lot of good. There are actually two. One is the Fisher House. Okay, but we're not going to do that today, but that's a good charity. The other is Semper Fi and America's Fund. And thefund.org is how you get to them. All right, so they help severely wounded vets and their families in a variety of ways. And one of the men that they've helped is Marine Sergeant Zachary Stinson, who joins us now from Chambersburg, Pennsylvania. Sergeant, it's good to see you. And I want to tell the folks about your personal story. I'll start it off and then I'll ask you some questions about it, okay? So at 18, you enlisted in the Marines, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Why did you enlist?
Because I liked working out.
You just wanted a
free
free gym to go to. No, but why really did you enlist in the Marines?
Because I didn't want to go to college and start my life out in debt. And I wanted to be the best, so I had talked to enough people that said the Marines were the way to go, so that's why I did it.
Okay. So at 18, you're not fully formed emotionally, but to go to the Marines is usually a very positive experience. 3 years later, you're sent to Afghanistan, right? Is it 3 years after you did boot camp?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And you're on patrol in Marja, Afghanistan. Where is Marja?
Southern Helmand Province, Afghanistan.
And you're out there with the guys and you step on an IED, a mine, and you get your legs severely injured, right?
Yes, gone.
Okay. Now, you didn't know that at the time. You just got concussed, and boom, all of a sudden, you're back in the States with two legs that are severely, as you put it, gone. 25 surgeries. Is that correct?
Roundabout, yes. I really don't know the actual number.
It was that many, though.
Oh, yeah, that or more.
And what did the surgeries do for you?
A lot of it was washout, just cleaning out the injury. A lot of dirty bombs over there just because of the dirt. And then everything was else just trying to get function back, trying to get my legs, trying to save as much of my leg as they could. I had my eardrum blown out. I had my pelvis smashed. So just getting functionality in those parts of my body.
All right. So you go through this ordeal, but then you also develop a plan to get yourself back into top shape. Tell us about that.
So I realized one day I looked in the mirror and I was like 220 pounds. And it's just not as easy without legs, just getting up and going for a run or anything like that. So I had to find something that would work. So I grew up as a gym rat, so I hit the gym and then also tried to find a form of cardio and eventually found that in hand cycling.
So you got into cycling and then you started to compete, correct?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I've done, I started out in marathons. I went over to triathlon for a little bit. And then since 2023, I've been competing internationally for paracycling, as well as a member of Team USA right now until January.
And you could do all this because of the technology, the medical technology, that even though you didn't have legs, you had enough medical procedure in you that you could function. What level would you say you were functioning at or are functioning at now?
Functioning at now, I don't know. I like to think more positive that I'm around 80%. Having the ability to be physical, though, is such a huge aspect of it. People, especially being in a wheelchair, it's really easy to become sedentary and then just kind of roll over and die. So it's just being active and staying active.
All right, and you do that through the cycling. You get married and have two girls, right?
Yes, sir.
That is, in itself, an unbelievable situation. And do you attribute anything to your family life that goes over into your competition and your overall life?
Yeah, I do attribute that. My kids never knew me as a Marine, and I was a pretty good Marine, but they need to see me getting up and doing something. So cycling is that for me. They see me putting in the work and the bike, doing all the training, and then eventually having the competitions and where I have the final result or things. But they see the process of everything, even though my job doesn't look like it used to, just pushing through and still working out and being active.
Okay. You're 35 years old now. What has thefund.org done for you specifically?
So, well, the track chairs, they actually were one of the first ones to get me a track chair back in like 2014, I think. It was very early.
Okay.
They helped me with anything from bike equipment to honestly putting a fence in my backyard so my kids could play and everything in between. They go much more than just what they've done for me. There's a lot more like neurotherapy, and other things that really don't apply to me at this current time. But they've got a little bit of everything.
And they stay with you till you're dead, right? It's lifelong.
Absolutely. So they were one of the first people to reach out whenever I got injured and was at the hospital. They made sure my wife was taking care of any of my other family members down in Maryland, because we didn't know how long we were going to be at the hospital initially. So they took care of my family there whenever I couldn't. And then they've been with us ever since. And it's just doesn't stop.
And you also know other vets, of course, that are in the fund.org's orbit. And all, we've checked you out, all have the same great experience.
Yeah, I don't know anybody that has anything negative to say about them. They're literally just a part of our family. I have my previous case manager retired earlier this year, and I still have conversations, back and forth texts and everything. And that goes on top of the case manager I currently have, who I'm in contact with constantly.
And you know, as because you were a Marine, how much the camaraderie helps and gives people support to get through the hardest times.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You got to have a good support system. I wouldn't be here if it weren't for the fund, if it weren't for my family and a supportive community.
All right. So we wanted to bring you on and let everybody know about thefund.org if they want to help out. Tax deductible, of course. Veterans Day, the perfect time to help these guys out. And Sergeant, if there's anything that we can do for you or your family, and and for the duration, you let us know. We're here if you need us at all.
Greatly appreciate that. I did just want to make a note that the Bob and Renee Parsons Foundation, along with PXG, are going to match up to $7.5 million for the fund till the end of the year.
That's pretty generous, I have to say. Very, very good. The whole thing is a big positive for America from top to bottom. We wouldn't be involved with it if it weren't. Okay, Sergeant, thanks very much. We'll talk again. When you're buried in credit card and loan debt, it's easy to put it off and say, I'll deal with it later. But here's the thing. Done with Debt has a little known strategy that can dramatically reduce or even erase what you owe. This fall, they will aggressively engage your lenders because they know rich credit card and loan companies are doing year-end accounting and cutting deals to clear debt fast, meaning you need to start with Done with Debt right now, this fall. They can help end your debt fast without bankruptcy or loans. In fact, most clients have more money in their pocket the first month. So get started while you still have time. Go to donewithdebt.com. Talk with one of their specialists for free. Visit donewithdebt.com, donewithdebt.com. The cost of everything still rising, and many of us are relying on credit cards to cover essentials. If that debt is piling up, you're not alone. Americans now owe more than $1 trillion in credit card debt. You may have thought about calling American Financing, but hesitated because you don't want to lose your low mortgage rate. Well, good news, they created the Smart Equity Loan. It lets you tap into your home's equity without touching your current mortgage. Unlike a home equity line of credit, this loan has a fixed interest rate and one predictable monthly payment. No upfront or hidden fees. It only takes 10 minutes to get started, so please call 888-462-9557 or visit americanfinancing.net/bill. Okay, final thought. NewsNation, 10 p.m. Eastern tonight, Veterans Day special on the best generals and the worst in American history. You love it. It's great. And then we're on with Billy Bush on his podcast, Hot Mics. We're on with Jillian Michaels, Keeping It Real. We're on with Howie Mandel, but Howie did not take off the shades. But it was a very fun interview with him. Howie Mandel does stuff. So they're available on YouTube, Apple, Spotify. And if you want to make it easy on yourself, go to BillO'Reilly.com. And we got them there for you. You just pop right on over. And it's worth it. It's fun. So I was very busy when I was out there. It's all in support of confronting evil. And everybody was very nice to us. I got to say, I didn't have any problem with anybody out there. But I'm glad I'm back. All right. Thank you very much for watching and listening to the No Spin News. I'm Bill O'Reilly. I'll see you again tomorrow. Thank you for watching. To view full episodes of the No Spin News anytime, sign up to become a BillO'Reilly.com premium or concierge member today.